Hey, what's up? Yes, I know I look different and I haven't uploaded in a while. Issues of life. Anyways, let us try and gain access to some access points. So Wi-Fi technology has become somewhat of a sensation over the past few years, and for valuable reasons, most of which rest on the incredible convenience it provides. But with such widespread use, it obviously demands good security. So let's dive in and find out just how good Wi-Fi security has gotten. So WP was a Wi-Fi security protocol that was used a while back. It was pretty much garbage, and all an attacker required to gain access to the network was a network interface that was capable of packet injection and a simple fake authentication attack. Anyways, I'm not going to talk much on WP because it was abandoned by the Wi-Fi Alliance, the body that certifies Wi-Fi standards. So if by any chance you still happen to be using WP in 2020, I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, later on, the Wi-Fi Alliance developed WPA and WPA2 in succession, and the two have long since become the most widely adopted form of Wi-Fi security protocols. And it is for that very reason that we are going to test those two protocols today. No, actually, we're going to test WPA2, which should be better than WPA. Yes, I know the Wi-Fi Alliance already announced WPA3 back in 2018, but at least as of this date, it has not been widely adopted, and the reason for that is that it's still not yet available for most people. So we're going to stick to WPA2 for today because even currently it's still the most widely adopted form of protocol in our devices, in our routers, in our smartphones, in our computers. So I'm not going to bore you with the technical in-depth details of the AES algorithm that WPA2 uses and its benefits over the temporal key integrity protocol of WPA or the 64-bit encryption of WP. I'm simply going to try and gain access to these access points in three different instances, three case perspectives. Case number one, you're a friend or an acquaintance to the owner of the network. Case number two, you have access to a device that has already connected to the network before. And case number three, you are a total stranger and you can't ask anybody for the password. You are coming across this network for the very first time, or something like that. So I'm going to try all these perspectives and see what results we get. So let's begin. Case number one, you're a friend or an acquaintance to the owner of the network. Well, just ask for the password, bro. Ain't no need in complicating issues. Case number two, you have access to a device that has already connected to the network before. So let's begin with Windows. Go ahead and pull up the command prompt, and I'm going to show all the wireless networks I have ever connected to, and I'm only interested in this particular network, so I'm going to show its credentials by and as you can see, this is the password for that network. Now I have to mention that this is not a weakness of WPA2, but it's a weakness in its implementation in Windows. Coming to Linux.
So I'm currently in Kali Linux, and Kali has a tool that is responsible for interfacing and configuring both wired and wireless network connections, and that tool is called Network Manager. Now, depending on how your Linux distro has been set up, you may be using an entirely different tool, but for this video I'm going to stick to Network Manager just because For most Linux distros, it's the default network management tool. So without wasting time, let's just go ahead and find out where Network Manager stores these credentials. So if I go ahead and list, you're going to see all the next networks I've connected to. In this case, I'm only interested in home, so I'm just going to list out its credentials. And as you can see, I can see its password here. Now I have to mention again, this is not a weakness of WPA2, but it's a weakness in how it has been implemented in these operating systems.
Yes, finally, the section you've all been waiting for. You're coming across this network probably for the first time, or you have come across it, but, well, you don't have access to any device that has connected to it before, or you don't know anybody who owns the network. In this case, this is what we are going to do.
For this, I'm going to use Kali Linux just because it already contains most of the tools I will usually require for such endeavors. So by default, your network card is set to managed mode, and that means it's massively limited in what it can do. So I'm going to switch mine to promiscuous mode, which is also called monitor mode. So WLAN 0 is my interface. Once that's done, I'm going to kill certain processes that may interfere with what I want to do. And then I'm just going to dump all the networks around me. And as you can see, there's only one network. It's the one I'm interested in, called home. So I'm just going to stop this and copy the MAC address of this access point. Then I'm going to request more information on that specific network using AeroDump. So it's on channel 5. I'm just going to specify that, and also specify its BSS ID, which is the MAC address. Then I'm going to write what it finds to a file that I'm going to name shell, and then I'm going to finish by indicating my interface. Then I'm going to yes. Then I'm going to open another tab, and I'm going to disconnect all the devices that are currently connected to that network. And the essence of this is to capture that 4-way handshake once these devices attempt to reconnect back to the network. So I'm going to replay, and I'm going to deauthenticate. I'm going to send, let's say, 12 packets of deauthentication. I'm going to specify to what net access point, and then WLAN 0, and we should be able to see a handshake somewhere here, which I think has already been captured. Yes, as you can see, we already have that handshake. It's already captured. So I'm just going to stop this, and then because the handshake has already been captured, we're actually ready to begin our brute force. Now I'm not going to use any word lists, but if you wanted to, there are plenty of word lists online that you can use. I'm just going to simply pipe password combinations directly from crunch to aircrack and try and brute force the password. So I'm just going to clear the terminal. Then I'm going to use crunch. It's a minimum of 8, maximum of 8, and the possible combinations 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I'm going to pipe whatever is coming out to aircrack ng. Specify that file that we call shell cap, and then I'm going to specify the BSS ID of the network, and then I'm not going to use any word list. So I think that's that. Let us press enter, and as you can see, it's already trying to figure out the password. It's actually going on a little bit slower. This is about 2000 passwords per second, which is very slow. Yes, but this may take a while, so I'll be back once it's done. So I'm back, and it's actually completed. This is the password of the access point, and it has actually taken 36 minutes and 3 seconds, which is kind of short because this kind of attacks usually take longer than that. And that means that if you actually want these attacks to be more efficient, you should have already done some form of social engineering, known maybe how long is the password, and something that may be in the password. And the reason why this has taken a very short time is I was only testing for passwords that were 8 digits long, and it worked so easily because the router that I'm actually attacking, its default password has never been changed. But this attack will take significantly long if the router I was attacking had a longer password, and not to mention if it had like combinations of symbols and letters and numbers. It will be harder, and it will take a while before this could be done. So this kind of attack is very efficient once you've done some social engineering and you can know how long the password is, and possible things, combinations that may be in the password. Then you can try and figure out your way and brute force it successfully. So that's been it. I'll probably make another video on these Wi-Fi access points because I have not touched on actually this WPA2 has numerous weaknesses that I have not touched in this video. So consider subscribing for more. Possibly I'll drop a video on weaknesses of WPA2 later on.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, a like will be appreciated, and if you enjoy this kind of content, consider subscribing for more.